Hello, all you freedom-loving people. Borders are Tom Homan announced that 30,000 missing children have already been rescued. James Comer has subpoenaed Epstein bank records, and Clinton's Treasury Secretary resigned from the OpenAI board. Okay, let's get into it. Today, during a news conference, the Justice Department announced new charges against Ryan James Wedding. Wedding is a former Canadian Olympian who was indicted in 2024 for allegedly running a drug trafficking network. Wedding is accused of running a transnational drug trafficking ring that spans Colombia, Mexico, Canada, and the United States, and he has allegedly moved tons of narcotics into the United States.
For 2,000 kilos and numerous weapons have been seized. Approximately $3.2 million in cryptocurrency has been recovered, and over $13 million in physical assets has been confiscated. Wedding is also accused of murdering a federal witness after he was indicted in 2024. He used a Canadian website called The Dirty News to post photographs of the witness and his wife in order to locate him, which ultimately succeeded. The witness was gunned down in a restaurant in Medellin before he could testify against Wedding. Today, we're unsealing a new indictment, charging Wedding with 2 additional counts of witness tampering and intimidation, murder, money laundering, and drug trafficking.
FBI Director Kash Patel also said at the briefing that Wedding was a modern-day iteration of Pablo Escobar, who was a Colombian drug lord dubbed the King of Cocaine in the 1980s. Michael Duhaime, the Commissioner of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, said that they arrested 7 Canadians yesterday related to Wedding's criminal ring. Duhaime added that Wedding remains one of the top threats to Canadian public safety. The 7 Canadians who were arrested will be extradited to the United States to face charges of conspiracy to murder and trafficking. Akil Davis, the assistant director in charge of the FBI's Los Angeles field office, said that Wedding is working with and being protected by the terrorist organization, the Sinaloa cartel in Mexico. Even though Mexican authorities are cooperating, significant protection by the Sinaloa cartel has made Wedding's capture difficult. The State Department is now raising the bounty on Wedding from $10 million to $15 million. In the meantime, and in another crime crackdown operation, Borders Czar Tom Homan said in a Fox News interview yesterday that more than 30,000 missing illegal immigrant children have been located by the Trump administration.
Even 500,000 children were smuggled in this country, and they lost track of 300,000 of them. You know what President Trump has done? I was with HHS today, Jesse. We already found over 30,000 of these kids. You know, like 3 weeks ago, we're at 24,000. Now we're over 30,000. Wow. And we're going to keep working until we find every one of these kids. President Trump's saving lives every day. Most secure border in the history of the nation. Less fentanyl killing Americans. Less sex trafficking women and children. And we're finding children that Biden administration wasn't even looking for. And we're the bad guys. It's disgusting.
30,000, it's an amazing job. And I hope it continues, because there's a lot more kids that are just living in the shadows with horrible things happening to them.
The move came as Immigration and Customs Enforcement recently launched an initiative with state and local law enforcement partners to locate roughly 450,000 unaccompanied alien children who were illegally smuggled into the U.S. during the Biden administration and placed with unvetted sponsors. Today, the U.S.-Saudi Investment Forum was held at the John F. Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. The forum was a high-level business and diplomatic event. It was called Leadership for Growth, strengthening the Saudi-U.S. economic partnership. During a speech at the forum, President Trump said that the United States and Saudi Arabia are partnering on energy like never before.
Under the deals being signed this week, the world's 2 leading energy superpowers, America and Saudi Arabia, are partnering on energy like we've never partnered before. American Saudi companies represented here today are joining on liquefied natural gas, infrastructure, constructions, and making both of our energy sectors, our sectors are becoming so strong.
Talking about energy, President Trump once again touched upon the climate change movement.
Everything was a new scam, green, green, green. Look, I'm all for the environmental, everything. I'm all for climate change. You know, they have a new word, climate change. It used to be global warming. It's global warming. Well, that didn't work because it started coming down. They did the global cooling thing. Then they just said, we can't keep up with this. It's too much. So we'll go, perfect words, climate change. They're covered. If it rains, if it snows, if it's warm, it's climate change is destroying the world, remember? The world was supposed to have been gone 2 years ago. They gave us 12 years, Howard, to live, right? 12 years. But that was 14 years ago. The world was going to burn up, but it got actually much cooler. You know, these people, it's a little conspiracy out there. We have to investigate them immediately. They probably are being investigated.
President Trump also said that the United States will soon be delivering dozens of new airplane engines for 787 Dreamliners to Saudi Arabia.
So it's just one example. Under the deals being signed this week, workers at GE Aerospace, I think he's here. Where is he? Stand up. What a job you've done with your new engines. And where are you? You're there. It's not a very good location for you. I thought you have been amazing. Great new engine that's supposed to be more efficient, more powerful, and less costly. That's not a bad combination. But GE Aerospace will soon be delivering dozens of new airplane engines for 787 Dreamliners in Saudi Arabia's commercial fleet. Big order. It was a big order just secured. Every new job and every new factory created by these announcements builds up our middle class and really strengthens the industrial backbone of America. And, you know, I view it differently. I used to view it as it's great, great, great. The stock goes up. I view it, everything as jobs now because I don't care. I care about jobs. And we have more jobs. It was just announced. We have more jobs right now than we've ever had in the history of our country. Those are big numbers. You know, it's like crazy. It's just a great stat. More jobs today than we've ever had in the history of our country. And we're going to be producing a lot more coming.
President Trump also announced that the United States is working to negotiate a deal to end internal conflicts in the African nation of Sudan.
Working with the Crown Prince was amazing because he mentioned Sudan yesterday. And he said, sir, you're talking about a lot of wars, but there's a place on earth called Sudan. And it's horrible what's happening. And I viewed it as being just sort of a freelance, no government, no this, no that. And he explained the whole culture and the whole history. And it was very interesting to hear. Really amazing, actually, to hear. And, you know, we've already started working on that, okay? He said that would be the greatest thing you can do. That would be greater than what you've already done. That was your expression. Is that a correct expression? Pretty good. So we're working on that. We started about 30 minutes after you explained to us the great importance of that. I view it differently now than I did just a day ago.
Sudan is separated from Saudi Arabia by the Red Sea. Yesterday, the Crown Prince briefed President Trump on the deep internal turmoil in Sudan. A report describes the crisis as the world's largest humanitarian disaster, with more than 15 million people displaced, 17 million children out of school, and up to 25 million people lacking adequate nutrition. Fighting in Sudan broke out between rival security forces in 2023, while a power struggle between the Sudan Armed Forces and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces escalated into a full-scale battle for control of the country. The Saudi Business Forum came after a high-profile dinner last night at the White House. Last night, President Trump announced that the United States designated Saudi Arabia as a major non-NATO ally. President Trump made the announcement for the first time during a dinner at the White House with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman.
So that's why tonight I'm pleased to announce that we're taking our military cooperation to even greater heights by formally designating Saudi Arabia as a major non-NATO ally, which is something that is very important to them. And I'm just telling you now for the first time because I wanted to keep a little secret for tonight. I just heard him say, oh, that's nice. That's another point you won today. And signing a historic strategic defense agreement, which we just signed a little while ago. So congratulations. It's out there.
The designation means in part that the Saudi government will gain priority access to American military equipment, including F-35 fighter jets. So now, as a major non-NATO ally, Saudi Arabia joins 19 other nations, including Israel, Qatar, Egypt, and Jordan. The move to elevate Saudi Arabia's diplomatic status could raise controversy, as there are still concerns about Saudi Arabia's human rights record. In 2021, American officials ruled that the Crown Prince approved the 2018 killing of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi. But yesterday, during the meeting, President Trump expressed skepticism about this finding.
Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office. Why should Americans trust you?
Who are you with? No, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You're with who?
ABC News, sir.
Fake news. ABC fake news. One of the
But the
worst.
question is
One of the
legitimate,
worst
sir.
in the business. But I'll answer your question. I have nothing to do with the family business. I have left, and when I've devoted 100% of my energy. What my family does is fine. They do business all over. They've done very little with Saudi Arabia, actually. I'm sure they could do a lot. And anything they've done has been very good. That's what we've done. We've built a tremendous business for a long time. I've been very successful. I decided to leave that success behind and make America very successful. And I've made America more successful by far than it ever was, and that it ever could have been, no matter who was president. There would be nobody bringing in $21 trillion, that I can tell you right now. As far as this gentleman is concerned, he's done a phenomenal job. You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen. But he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
The Crown Prince also maintained his past denial of any involvement in the incident.
You know, I feel painful about, the families of 9/11 in America, but, we have to focus on reality based on CIA documents and based on a lot of documents that Osama bin Laden, he used Saudi people in that event for one main purpose, is to destroy this relation, to destroy the American-Saudi relation. That's the purpose of 9/11. So whoever buys that means they are helping Osama bin Laden's purpose of destroying this relation. He knows that strong relation between America and Saudi Arabia, it's bad for extremism, it's bad for terrorism. And we have to approve him wrong and to build our relation, continue developing our relation. It's critical in the safety of the world. It's critical against extremism and terrorism. About the journalists, it's really painful to hear, anyone that been losing his life for, no real purpose or not in a legal way. And it's been painful for us in Saudi Arabia. We've did all the right steps of investigation, etc. in Saudi Arabia, and we've improved our system to be sure that nothing happened like that. And it's painful and it's a huge mistake, and we are doing our best that this doesn't happen again.
The United States and Saudi Arabia have closely cooperated for decades, but the issues involving Israel and Palestine have long been a sticking point in their relationship. Saudi Arabia has called for a two-state solution to the Gaza war, which remains their official position on the issue. During the dinner, President Trump spoke about the broad progress that his administration has made toward ending the Gaza war.
And a lot of progress has been made with respect to Gaza and just about everything else we touch. Just yesterday, the United Nations Security Council formally adopted my peace plan and officially endorsed the Board of Peace. This is a board like no other. It will have the heads of major countries, I think all of the major countries. I hope Your Highness will be on the board. You'll accept, I hope. But the Board of Peace will be something that's never even been thought of before. And it's covering Gaza, but it'll end up covering large portions of the world. And I was honored to be chosen the chair of that Board of Peace. And I think you'll see something that nobody's ever seen before in terms of the status of the board. There will never be a board like the board that we're going to be announcing. I guess unanimously you can say China, which was against it, took a pass, didn't vote against it, and Russia, which was against it, didn't vote against it. So we appreciate it, because one negative vote and it doesn't happen. So people were shocked to see that it was approved, and that was a great honor. It's a great honor for me, I will tell you. I think it's something like nobody's ever even imagined.
The dinner last night was packed with big names and celebrities, including Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Tim Cook, and Cristiano Ronaldo.
This room is loaded up with the biggest leaders in the world, business, sports. You know, my son is a big fan of Ronaldo, wherever Ronaldo is here. Ronaldo. And Barron got to meet him, and I think he respects his father a little bit more now, just the fact that I introduced you. So I just want to thank you both for being here. Thank you very much. Really an honor.
Today, Larry Summers, the former Secretary of the Treasury under the Clinton administration, the former president of Harvard University, and a well-known economist, announced that he has resigned from the OpenAI board after newly released emails linked him to the Epstein scandal. In response, OpenAI's board of directors said in a statement that we respect his decision, we appreciate his many contributions, and the perspective he brought to the board. Yesterday, we also mentioned that Summers stepped back from all his public commitments. So, what did the emails reveal? The disclosed emails reveal an unexpected level of trust that Summers placed in Epstein. Summers had caused a stir by consulting Epstein in his quest to win over the daughter of a senior CCP official. The Harvard Crimson reported that the subject was Jin Kai-yu, a female economist from the CCP. Jin is the daughter of economist Jin Li-kung, who is the former Minister of Finance of the Communist Party of China. She attended Harvard University from 2000 to 2009, where she received her BA and PhD in economics, and she later became a tenured professor at the London School of Economics and Political Science, according to the Harvard Crimson. Between November 2018 and July 5th, 2019, Summers, who was then 64 years old and married, repeatedly asked Epstein for advice on how to pursue the female mentee who he mentored, meaning Jin. In the emails, he also called Jin Kai-yu a peril. The report reveals that Summers kept Epstein informed of the progress of his interactions with Jin. The two exchanged emails frequently up to the day before Epstein's arrest. At one point, he forwarded an email from Jin to Epstein in which Jin thanked Summers for his support of her and her father. In the emails, Summers explained to Epstein that he had flattered Jin's father in a recent meeting and mentioned that other Chinese Communist Party officials had done the same. But Jin refused to comment on the months-long email exchange. In the messages that were released by the House of Representatives recently, she did not refer to a romantic relationship with Summers, and it's not clear whether she was aware that Summers shared her emails or discussed her with Epstein. Larry Summers' long relationship with Epstein has been well documented, but the depth of their conversation, including intimate matters, became public only this week. As investigations continue, we wonder who will be next to make the public stumble. Today, House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer took a major step in the Epstein investigation. Comer issued subpoenas to J.P. Morgan and Deutsche Bank to obtain Epstein's financial records and to scrutinize how federal agencies handled the case. The House Oversight Committee is currently investigating whether the federal government mishandled its probe into Epstein and his associate, Ghislaine Maxwell. Comer also requested Virgin Island Attorney General Gordon Ria to provide documents. The materials that Comer requested include all documents referring to any federal or local criminal investigation or potential criminal investigation into Epstein or Maxwell. Comer wrote in a letter to Ria. Additionally, the committee is assessing possible legislation aimed at bolstering or otherwise amending laws aimed at ethics disclosures for elected officials. And Comer asked Ria to provide all documents to the committee by December 2nd. It was recently pointed out in an investigative report in the Boston Globe that the Chinese Arts Media Lab, which was founded by the Harvard University professor Eugene Wang, had become a backdoor for the sons and daughters of China's rich and powerful to enter Harvard University. The Multimedia Lab utilizes digital technology and virtual reality to immerse viewers in the Buddhist caves of northwestern China. The lab's program received $2 million in startup funding from the Wanda Group Foundation in 2017, and it was originally operated directly by then Harvard President Drew Faust. Their mission is to facilitate the collaboration of the Harvard faculty with Chinese partners. In practice, however, it has used exchange programs in recent years to sponsor visas for Chinese students and scholars who are wishing to study in the U.S. It offers them the opportunity to enter the country and remain on campus, and the prices charged for this program are far in excess of those charged for similar activities. A former employee, surnamed Leung, filed a complaint saying that the lab exploited Harvard's global reputation and the regulatory loopholes between the U.S. and China to operate like a ghost system and create a private empire. Key findings of the Boston Globe's investigative report include Jai Lu, who is Eugene Wang's wife and a Harvard volunteer with no connection to the university, runs a number of highly sensitive laboratory operations. These include participating in the selection of candidates for the visa program and serving as an interviewer who decides which applicants can skip the interview process. Although visas require on-campus participation, some international scholars participating in exchange programs stay on campus for very short periods of time. Some stay for a quarter of the program length, while others live in Connecticut for extended periods. As the government reopened, Democrats also began aggressively pushing to extend Obamacare subsidies, and they slammed Republicans for causing the healthcare cost crisis. However, Republicans, such as Majority Leader Steve Scalise, argue that the rising cost of healthcare can be traced back to the policies of the Democrats in the previous Congress. At that time, they introduced an enhanced version of the ACA subsidies. This is the same program that is set to expire at the end of 2025, and now Democrats plan to extend it. The Republican Party has pushed for a cost-sharing plan to lower family premiums by more than 12%, but the plan has been blocked by Democrats in the Senate. President Trump floated the idea of giving low and medium-income Americans a direct payment of $2,000 and to put money directly into an account for them that they can use on health care as they see fit, rather than providing a subsidy that is paid to insurance companies. President Trump wrote on True Social, "The only health care I will support or approve is sending the money directly back to the people, with nothing going to the big fat rich insurance companies who have made trillions and ripped off America long enough. The people will be allowed to negotiate and buy their own much better insurance. Power to the people." President Trump told reporters on November 14th, "I've had personal talks with some Democrats." He said that the plan would allow consumers to negotiate their own price with an insurer. President Trump condemned insurance companies for making big bucks off the ACA. President Trump said, in other words, take from the big bad insurance companies, give it to the people, and terminate the ACA. But Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said that he doesn't believe President Trump's plan would work. He said, sending people a few $1,000s while doing nothing to lower health care costs is a scheme to help the ultra-wealthy at the expense of working people with cancer or pre-existing conditions. As a mid-December Senate vote on Obamacare approaches, a variety of proposals have been suggested by the president and members of Congress. Senator Bill Cassidy, the chair of the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee, pitched a proposal on Monday. The plan does not get rid of the base premium subsidies enacted in the Affordable Care Act, but it would reallocate the money that the government would spend on the enhanced subsidies into America's health savings accounts. He said, instead of paying insurance companies to manage our money, let's trust Americans to manage their own care with a pre-funded federal flexible spending account. Cassidy said that he has conversed with some Democrats about the proposal, saying that they have been receptive and want to learn more. Senator Rick Scott is drafting legislation for a similar plan now. His plan would send money directly to individual health savings accounts. He said they can use it to spend on health care, so they can buy direct health care, or they can buy insurance or use it for a co-payment or deductible. The proposals are anticipated to be debated during a Wednesday Senate Finance Committee hearing on rising healthcare costs. In a nutshell, the Republican plan is to skip the insurance companies and give government subsidies directly to the people. They argue that most of the government subsidies for Obamacare go to the accounts of the big insurance companies, and the public doesn't benefit at all. So let's take a look at how insurance companies profit from the ACA. President Trump recently posted a claim about DOJ and royalties linked to Obamacare. President Trump said DOJ halts yearly payments of $2.5 million to Barack Obama for royalties linked to Obamacare. President Trump said Obama has collected this payment since 2010 for a total of $40 million in taxpayer dollars. And this is not the first time President Trump has publicly questioned Obama's healthcare reform. Partial restrictions on the ACA were already put in place during his first term, but with little success. This time, with the U.S. government being $36 trillion in debt, and he certainly won't let the ACA slide. The ACA is Obama's greatest political legacy from his 8-year presidency and a political achievement that he's proud of. Even though he left office nearly 10 years ago, the bill is still having a significant impact on every American. When Obama signed the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, known as ACA or Obamacare, on March 23, 2010, he claimed that the bill was designed to expand health insurance coverage, reduce health care costs, and improve public health. As the ACA has been in place for more than 15 years, its revelations have been staggering. Majority Leader Steve Scalise points out that the ACA was originally intended to be a policy to reduce costs and increase insurance coverage, but over time the bill has instead increased healthcare costs. Prior to the implementation of the ACA, the average U.S. household premium was around $13,000 per year. By 2024, this figure had soared to $23,000, an increase of almost 80%. So why did this happen, and how does Obamacare really operate? At its core, Obamacare is the individual mandate, which requires nearly all Americans to purchase health insurance or face a fine. Although the fine was repealed in the 2017 Trump tax reform, the mandate to purchase insurance continues to this day. Although this mechanism is ostensibly designed to expand the risk pool, in reality it forces tens of millions of people on low and middle incomes into the private insurance market, making them forced customers of insurance companies. The Congressional Budget Office reports that the number of policies sold by private insurers through Obamacare increased by 13 million between 2014 and 2023, rising from 8 million to 21 million. Since Obamacare does not provide universal health care directly from the government, but relies on private insurance companies as intermediaries, this has led to the privatization of public funds. Giant insurance companies such as United Health Group, Elevance Group, and Cigna have been the biggest beneficiaries of Obamacare. In 2023, the 5 largest U.S. health insurers had total profits of over $65 billion, marking a 300% increase since 2010. United Health Group is a dominant player among these, achieving a net profit of $15 billion in the first half of 2024, 20% of which was contributed by the Obamacare subsidy. So how does Obamacare keep pumping huge amounts of public money into the hands of private insurers? Let's take an example. In the early days of Obamacare, insurers lost money due to the influx of high-risk customers, and from 2014 to 2016, the Obama administration reimbursed about $12 billion through the risk corridor process. Although the risk program has expired, a similar subsidy fund continues to this day. In 2024, the U.S. federal government paid around $30 billion in risk adjustment fees to insurance companies to prevent them from failing due to undesirable risks. In effect, this means that United States taxpayers are paying for the operational risks of private businesses. According to the Congressional Budget Office, Obamacare-related spending has accumulated more than $2.5 trillion from 2010 to 2024, with much of it flowing to private insurance giants through subsidies and tax credits. So why is the insurance premium going up and up when insurance companies receive so many government subsidies and concessions? An American doctor with 40 years of experience explained the reason behind it. He said, "Why does the cost of our health insurance go up every year? The reason is that it's designed that way. There is a provision in Obamacare called the medical loss ratio. The meaning of medical loss ratio is that insurance companies must spend 80 to 85% of all premium income on healthcare. This means that they can only keep 15 to 20% of it for administration, management, and profit. So the insurance companies play a little trick. The higher the premium income, the bigger the 15 to 20% absolute amount will be. So all the insurance companies have to do is keep raising their fees every year." The doctor said that if you look at the insurance company's financial statements, you will see that their income increases every year. Interested viewers can verify this by checking the statements of insurance companies. Based on 2023 data, the political costs of private insurance line companies in the U.S. are as high as $250 billion, and most of these costs are paid by U.S. taxpayers. At the same time, Obama's healthcare reform also introduces a number of new taxes, such as the medical device tax and the cadre payroll tax, which cumulatively collect more than $500 billion in taxes, and these costs are ultimately shifted to the insured. Therefore, Obamacare has been reduced to an ATM for private insurance companies, which keep raising premiums. And public funds are directly converted into dividends for insurance company shareholders through mandatory purchases and subsidies. While private insurance companies are making a fortune, huge subsidies are putting the U.S. federal government in fiscal crisis. According to a simulation test by the U.S. Congressional Budget Office, a complete repeal of Obamacare would save the U.S. federal government $1.5 trillion over 10 years in funds that could be used for tax cuts or direct assistance. And that's a wrap for this episode. Thank you so much for your support of Front Page. Please remember to leave a comment below the video. This is really helping us to be seen all around the world. The more people who watch Front Page, the more freedom-loving people the world will have. And please hit the like button and hit the notification bell after subscribing. And please share this video with your friends and family because everybody deserves to know the truth.